everyone. This is Sharon with Entelechy Visions, and this is an energy update for the week of July 20th through July 26th. So we start this week right off the bat with an alignment of a new moon in the sign of Cancer. And this particular new moon is a little bit different than a usual new moon, because new moons often bring a sign of hope or levity, especially following a very powerful eclipse season. They can often feel like a page is being turned, or we are moving a corner and finally starting with a fresh slate where some new beginnings start to be seeded and planted. This new moon does hold that quality to it, but it does bring a little bit of emphasis on some heaviness. So this new moon is a little bit of a buzzkill, and I know you may be sighing at that thought because we've already moved through such a powerful triple eclipse season, which has really altered and shifted so much, and adding to the potency of this already transformative 2020 year. However, this new moon is in a sign that is all about the emotions. It is all about the symbolism of home, of nurturing, of mothering, and is also about evolution and growth. So this new moon is somewhat of an abundance seeding for the next 6 months of our lives. So there will be an element to beginning, kind of a birthing that we are contributing to right now. However, with the heaviness quality to this alignment, it is adding that level of challenge. It is adding that level of delays or resistance, and a dose of some potent reality to our lives. So even though we are hoping for a little bit more levity, we're moving through another passage that's going to be a little bit tricky at the start of this week. And this new moon will allow that beginning, so you can begin to think about what you are seeding in your life, or what you are planting right now that is going to take shape over the course of the next 6 months. So anything that is begun right now is for the long term. So that is a high point of this heavy new moon that we're moving through, is to know that any challenges or any delays or unnecessary obstacles that arise as we move towards this seeding of our new beginnings will eventually have long-term effects that will enormously benefit you and anyone who is involved in this future vision that you are having. So this is a good time to really align yourself with where you would like to head in the long term and in the path and phase ahead as we move into the second half of this year. However, this new moon is a little bit, has a feeling like we are a rose that is growing under a glass container. It has an expansive quality to it, where we are birthing, we are growing, but we are also equally limited and kind of kept under wraps at this time. So they're a little bit polarizing energies that we'll be moving through, but just to kind of keep that in perspective as you move towards new projects, as you birth your future vision and align yourself with that, to keep in mind that we are still under this influence of this limiting quality to our lives. So with that, we are reminded that we are feeling somewhat restricted presently, as we are facing these restrictions in our life and in the world, and we want to feel as though we can have more freedom. We want to feel as though we can play, we can create, we can expand ourselves, especially as summer and the midpoint of summer is very much about that quality of energy, that expansion, that being outward, that connecting, that vacationing. So there is this antsy itchiness to want to do all those things, to have that freedom, to create, to be around others. So we're all kind of feeling that consistent limitation and restriction under all of that we're moving through. So it is spawning this irritation presently. It is spawning this sensitivity at the moment because we do not feel as though we can maneuver in the way that we would prefer to. And we're feeling a little held captive presently by external circumstances. So not to be a downer, but just to play out exactly what we're moving through and how this is affecting us internally. And as we are trying to kind of keep on and still remain hopeful and inspired and create in our lives, we are working with this quality of energy as well at the moment. So with that being said, it's not a time to hold back from planting any seeds. It's not a time to hold back from moving towards your future vision, because the long-term benefits of anything that you do plant right now will come back to you 100-fold. So it is a good time to begin these things, but just to remind yourself, if it takes a little bit longer, or if you have any kind of unexpected delays or things pop up, just remember to keep on, that it will be worth it. The birth may be a bit messy, but it will be worth it in the long run. So this new moon may be a little heavy, but just to remember that it is not eclipse season anymore. So we have moved past that point, at least. We have moved past that cosmic wild card, kind of expecting the unexpected feeling of things. And this is more of a cleansing time as we ready for a new month that is about to turn the corner. And we move past the eclipse season and we continue to integrate all of the lessons that we learned through that time period. We are continuing to see the dismantling taking place in the world, as we will continue to see that. But with this idea of planting our future visions, this will help in the hope and inspiration of these times to really counteract all that is crumbling presently, as we can move towards the creation and the building. Because anytime there is a deconstruction, it leaves more space for new ideas, new possibilities, new opportunities. So what are you feeling bubbling up within you to create, to move towards? Even if it is something subtle, it does not have to be a grandiose vision for your life. It could be something as simple as changing the way that your home looks right now, kind of doing an overhaul, especially with this new moon and the sign of the home. We are all very much thinking about our locations, our immediate communities, or where we would like to actually reside. Maybe there is a questioning within you of the possibility of moving, of no longer resonating with where you presently are. So it's a good time to listen to that inner nudging of what you are feeling within. And it can also be as small as maybe shifting and changing something about your own habits, your own routines, your own health. Because as we are at this midpoint of the year, and the changes that we have already moved through, the challenges that we've already moved through. You may be starting to notice how that is beginning to affect your own sense of well-being, your own sense of mental health. So it is a good time to reassess that and see what you need right now. And it may look really different than maybe what you needed a couple months ago. So it is a good opportunity to continue to reassess how that changes for you as we move forward into this current reality, and to see what you can add, what you can tweak, and what your body, your mind, your emotions, your energy are really calling for presently. So with that being said, we have a lot of individual determination, kind of a fuel that will really be powering us over the course of the next 6 months, that will add a little bit of extra fuel to our steps and give us a little bit more energy to step more towards aligning with our purpose, aligning with our path, that expansion, and also rising up into some kind of leadership or some kind of new expression that we have not tried just yet. So this particular time will support that. Will support that element of letting you become more self-empowered, letting you step more towards that vision and that ultimate dream. We've also had a very unique element that has been appearing in the night sky over the course of the last couple weeks. And this is a comet called Neowise. Comets have not been seen pretty often, and the last comet that we did see was around 1997, if you were alive at that time and you're listening. Comets are very rare occasions, and they bring an element of a new energy, kind of a spark of hope and inspiration. And they're also there to break up the energy too, as you can kind of see it streaking in the sky, breaking up the energy. So Comet Neowise is presently visible in the night sky, and you can see its really beautiful, soft comet tail in the sky, and it's going to be rising a little bit further up the horizon this week. So you'll be able to see it a little bit more, especially if you live in a place with a lot of trees on the horizon. Comet Neowise is not going to be seen again for another 6,000 years. So this is a beautiful opportunity, and I even find it very interesting and unique of the name of this comet, because Neo means new and wise means wisdom. So this comet bringing an element of a reminder of some new wisdom, some new visions for our lives, that potential for hope and inspiration. A spark of light that reminds us to keep that hope alive, to keep that light alive within us, and to remember that we are the co-creators of our path, and we can contribute as a collective and individually to a new vision and a new light ahead. So I want to share with you a channeled message that came through for this week's update as an element of hope and inspiration, and a reminder to keep that light alive inside within you. July has been a month of integration of the very powerful eclipses we moved through. The first half of the month has felt sluggish and exhausting, combined with a dose of impatience for change and a sadness of our old lives. However, we face a new horizon, one where we are no longer that self, and it is no longer that world. As we look to the sun, we remember we are alive, and we can gain our power through the cultivation of hope and forward momentum. Who are we now? What has changed since 2020 began? Not just in the world, but within ourselves. If hope feels lost, remember the value of the rebirth process, and the form of our lives may call for something else at this point. That looks quite different than any other time. Let yourself be comforted in knowing a new way forward is possible and will be led by the light you keep alive in your own heart. So I leave you with that message for this week's update. I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead. If you do need additional support, you can learn more about my services at entelechivisions.com. I ask you to please like and subscribe to this channel to help support the channel. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for listening.